Hi there, welcome to part 2 of the mapping video. Excuse me. Now we're going to look at a lower tech way in case the cutting and pasting of symbols is not working for you. I have to get back in my PowerPoint. Okay, so here's an alternate way of mapping, which is just using a table. So when you go to the Microsoft Word, when you go to a Microsoft Word document, just choose the Insert menu, and then you can insert a table. In this case, you would like a 4-column, 2-line table, and you put your question number, reasons, conclusion, objections. And in Microsoft Word, you can highlight text. So actually, let me just show you this. You can go to Insert Table, and I want 4 columns and 2 rows, and I could type question, tab, reasons, tab, conclusion, tab, objections, and then if I go to the home menu and I highlight reasons, or a little box will come up here, and I want a blue highlight for reasons, and I want a green highlight for conclusion. I can just go back to the highlight and go to green. And for objections, I'm going to go for yellow. Okay? So in this case, this is the same question we did earlier. She lost her phone yesterday, therefore it is no use texting her. Very simple argument, reason, conclusion, no objections. In question 3, there's still 2 ways of mapping it, just as we did before. I would buy that TV for our bedroom, but if it wasn't for, how much it costs and how big it is. Now, the alternate analysis is I will not buy that TV for a bedroom because it costs too much and it is too big. In this case, I was not able to do the colored highlights in PowerPoint, but you would be able to do them in Word. Now, number 10 on page 101 is a lot more complicated. We have got 7 reasons pointing to the same conclusion, which is that nobody really believes in climate change. Well, how do we know we don't believe in it? We pave over our farms, political leaders don't do what they need to do, we keep building in the places that are going to flood, so obviously we don't think it's going to happen. Consumers don't install solar heating. We keep the thermostat too high. We don't buy electric cars. We keep the buildings too cold. So in other words, we might give lip service to climate change, but in reality nobody really believes it, because if they really believed it, they would change their behavior. So all of these reasons point to the conclusion that nobody actually really believes in it. Now, note that there's no limit to how many reasons you can have. The more you have, the stronger your argument is in general. On the lower tech way, we've got all 7 reasons mapped out. Okay, it's nice to bullet them because that keeps them separated from each other so the reader can see what's actually going on. There's only one conclusion: nobody really believes in climate change, and in that particular question there were no objections raised. If it was your own argument that you were writing, you might raise some objections, but in this case there aren't any given to us, and all we are doing is mapping what is actually there. We are not, when we are trying to analyze an argument in a piece of written work or a piece of spoken work, we're not trying to add in our own opinion. We just write what's there. We put all the reasons in the ovals, we put all the conclusions in the green boxes, and we put the objections in the red arrows. We try to get our black arrows pointing the right way, and we just draw essentially what the person is saying, and then we can look at it. Then we can say, this argument doesn't really hold water because these reasons don't make sense, or they're really not true. There's evidence to the contrary, so we can add our own objections, or we may find we can add our own reasons to the conclusion, and say, yeah, this actually is a really good argument, and there are a lot more reasons for this conclusion, and therefore this is a really strong argument. So that is the whole point of mapping, the arguments, and whichever way you do it, it doesn't really matter. So in conclusion, argument mapping is going to help you become stronger critical thinkers. So therefore, it's going to be integral to our work from now to the end of the semester. And the unspoken element here is that the whole point of this class is to help you become strong critical thinkers. I really hope that we are all in agreement on that particular unspoken element. And so the conclusion is the effort that you spend becoming familiar and comfortable with mapping will pay off in your grade and in your thinking ability. Now, like I say down here, this map actually was not easy to construct. The place for what's in the cloud, I kept thinking was a reason, but I think it's not. In essence, it's not really a reason. It's the background for these other reasons. So that's why I put it in the cloud. But this isn't intuitive, and some of us are going to map things differently, and they may not necessarily be incorrect because they're different, as long as there's good reasoning behind why you map that way. But the mapping process makes us think about our thinking in order to improve our thinking. Thank you, Dr. Richard Paul, because we get to see it flat out on paper in a very visual way, and then we can look at it and decide if it's effective.